I saw you had that Rockies money line come in.
Oh
just
yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit earlier.
You're and then I couldn't get a match.
Any of that magic last night. Yeah. What was it? Again,
well, if you look at all the ways that we could. Oh wow, it's cold open. Who cares? So if you look at the way that they lost all of their last few games, it's been freaky stuff. Like it's actually like plus 180, and I'm sorry, just like I would argue that Kyle Friedland's their best pitcher.
I was gonna say hot take. Like, are the Rockies? Okay, they're definitely still the worst team in baseball, but
yeah,
they're kind of playing better. Like so
are the Angels. The Angels are playing really well. Angels are playing really well. Baltimore's playing really well. Colorado. So the White Sox are playing really well. I think the White Sox are like 8-2 in their last 10.
Yeah, and they just called up Teal.
Yeah, who's really good. So I mean, everyone can go gaga over Roman Anthony, but we'll talk about it with Jovan. All right, so you have Dad's Bet Baseball. My wife tried to open the door and I was like, I'm recording. So it was such a nerdy thing. Dad's Bet Baseball. I'm Adam Rosenberg, and with me as always is CJ Slippin' Jimmy. CJ, we open up by talking about lousy teams. But are lousy teams what's on your mind right now? Like that are you like me and you're betting Rockies money lines, or what are you doing?
I mean, I should just stop betting altogether based on the last 4 or 5 days.
Same.
And the absolute bleeding out that I've done, not just across baseball, but across all professional sports right now.
Oh, I've been very good on WNBA. I've been and I've been great on hockey. I haven't touched NBA since.
Yeah, the WNBA, the two pair of oh my God. Reese and Brianna Stewart last night wasn't great.
Dude, how did Reese have a game of her life last night?
I don't know.
I don't know if you watched
the first. Have you seen like the viral clips of her missing the first basket? Like that. There's the
group of
guys. Yeah.
Brianna also we had her for 19 points. Simple enough because Jonquel was out, and she bricked a free throw, and she bricked a 3, and then she came back in when they were up 25 points with 4 minutes left, and she didn't take another shot. Like, what was the point? And she landed on 18. It was terrible.
I don't know.
So
what's the point of Wilmer Flores hitting a routine ground ball up to the pitcher and somehow still can't field it? And
I know, dude. That stunk because we had it. So, we had that. We really had that one.
Other than top of mind, me rage texting about Wilmer Flores. I mean, I don't want to talk about bad teams because I want to talk
about bad teams, but Wilmer Flores has cost you and I more money than any other player this season.
Wilmer Flores has been a thorn in our sides. Quick note by him, by the way, he's on pace for over 100 RBI.
Yeah, I didn't. When you wrote that in the chat, I had no idea.
Is I think 0.5 right now is a 0.5 WAR, which is just insane. Like he had to have made some deal with Satan in the offseason is my theory, but I think so. I said to you last week, there was a couple of good upcoming series. I mean, there's some good series going on right now. I mean, you've got the Padres, Dodgers. I think the Brewers and Braves is kind of interesting to me. I want to talk though about the Tigers, which is a team.
Love to talk about the Tigers.
We brought up here about almost 2 months ago now on this show. And I feel like I have been in the bucket of being a skeptic on this team. Like I'm totally willing to admit, have been saying this all season that I think they're good, but I haven't necessarily put them like, are they in the tier to me with Dodgers, with Yankees, with Mets, Cubs? Maybe the Phillies are in that tier. I think they're probably still on the fringe of that, but the Tigers were still kind of like a little bit questionable to me. And like, do they belong? And then they had a really impressive series against the Cubs, which I said was a prove it series. And Flaherty comes out, has a shove performance on
again.
Sunday. Was awesome. Just looks
dude has a what is it like? People third time through the order, it's like 463.
460. I know. Yeah. Of course, we were on the under
absolute, and he absolutely shoved for the third straight time since we've added that stat to the website. He has screwed me.
And trust me, that number is accurate. That is the actual
Yeah. No, it's
time through
very
the order.
accurate.
It's just unfortunately we've gotten snake bit by that, but we can talk about outs also on the show because I have something I want to bring up with them. But I was looking at like the biggest thing for me was like, I knew that the pitching was good, and I've been in support fully that like yes, this pitching staff, this bullpen will be good throughout the season. They'll be hard to deal with in the playoffs. Obviously, you have Scooble there, who is amazing. I think the question that I've had along with a lot of other analysts has been like, is this lineup for real? Are we really going to believe in a Javi Baez renaissance? Do we think Spencer Torkelson, I know obviously is the draft capital 1-1 overall, like, is this actually real? Because we haven't seen him put it together for this long of a stretch. And I'm just, this morning and last night, I was looking at a little bit more of their hitting statistics and really like, are the Tigers one of the, top 5 best teams in terms of, if I'm looking at things like expected slugging, expected WOBA, hard hit rate, barrel rate? No, they're not a top 5 team. They're not in the Mets. They're not in the Yankees, Cubs, Diamondbacks territory there for lineups, but they're pretty consistent like across the board. If you go to like their expected slugging, I think they are actually what, 6th right now? No, they're 7th in expected slugging and expected WOBA. They are either 10th or 11th. And that's pretty consistent also with like just their regular slugging WOBA numbers throughout the season. Also from their Pythag standpoint, they're right where they are expected to be. So they are, just double checking here. Are they? They're 20 games over 500. Pythag has them at exactly that record. And I want to ask you, like, I haven't bet a lot to win the World Series markets yet. We've been playing around with the make the LCS to win the division. I'm seeing a number there at 9-1 on the Tigers to win the World Series. And I'm a little tempted to bite on that. Like, do you think that this team should be shorter than 9-1?
Probably a little bit. I mean, that number, that 9-1 is more. It's still good. Look, it's good value, and it's effectively a 2-leg parlay of can they beat the Yankees and can they beat the Dodgers is really what that is coming down to. Because you have to remember that of teams that are going to get stuff back, the Dodgers, everyone can crap on the Dodgers for all the things that are happening, but the 2 things that they're, quote, getting back one of them I put in quotes at the second half of the season is going to be 1, Ohtani pitching, which is better than a constant bullpen games, of which they've thrown 300 innings of bullpen games.
Better than Tony Gonsolin going on.
And right. And 2, you're going to get back Blake Snell with low innings on maximum rest and 3 months, which is like the most ideal version of who starts slow and does that. That's the most ideal version you could ever possibly get of Blake Snell. Like if we ever found a over second half wins market for like Snell or things like that, like I would not be surprised to see Snell go 7-2 after July 1 or whatever it is that he starts with an ERA of 1.3. I would not be surprised. So, okay, but back to the main point, the main thing. So then we waxed for you did a solid wax on the Tigers. I think the Tigers are a good team, and the problem is that people have with this Tigers team is that they are not exciting. They do not have guys that bomb. They have guys with ceilings of bombing. They have the Torkelsons and the Riley Greens of the world, who are both first-round picks, obviously can do that. Riley Green, one who has probably 35 home run potential. But they are in a ballpark that massively suppresses left-handed hitting. And they are a contact hitting team most of the time. I think that this was the problem that the people had last year. They kind of slept on them, and they had like the perfect matchup against the Houston Astros, because the Astros just couldn't end innings, and they just keep getting guys on base, and they kept making it happen. For me, it's this team has depth, and it got as far as it did last year. Despite the fact that every game that was not a Baseballl game in the playoffs was a bullpen game, and they pushed the Guardians to 5, and they probably should have won that series. If they had another actual starting pitcher, I think they win that series. I think they're pretty deep on that end. Mize has been a bit of a bump right now, but Mize, again, first round pick. and a great pitcher. We had Nick on the show early in our tenure, and he talked about how he's kind of the ace. I think they're working on some things, obviously, with Job. He's got a Phantom IL stint, which you always actually want to see with a rookie. So the thing is, and the original question, are they worth buying because they're 9-1? 9-1 is pretty long for the best team with the best record in the majors. Bottom line, period. Whether you think that they can't do it or not, 9-1 for the best team in baseball right now, win-wise, is an absurd number. And
in the weaker league too. So you have obviously the Yankees, but
let me see what has been there. Let me just look one thing up. Detroit, Tigers, like also they're like, their starting pitching war is fantastic. I see Brandon Porter, noted Riley Green fan, saying Snell will only be able to pitch 5 innings. That's fine because it's going to just take a load off of that bullpen. But Snell in 5 innings is going to be fine. But we're not here to talk about all that. But I want to see just on Baseball Reference as I go to teams and I go to what leaders. This site is sorry. Baseball Reference will probably never be a sponsor to us because I just think that some of their things are hard to navigate. What if you can see it, you can find it. I want to know what their record is in interleague, and I want to know what their record is against teams above 500. Do you have that like very easy to pull up?
Let me see if I can find that on.
It's a tough one to find just because of the site is just sometimes trash. So is it done like this? No, this is all franchises of all time.
Anyway. Fangraphs is better on the on more of like the individual stuff here. I'd have to double check that. That's
yeah. Anyway, the point is the point on all of this is just that they this is a good team. It's a good team. This is a very good team, and I think that if people want to kind of doubt them, they can decide what you want to do. Here it is. I got team statistics now. If you want to doubt them, that's fine. But this team still is top 5 in like total bases. It's top 5 in pitching. When you get to like some of their records, like it's the best team in baseball, and you got them at 9-1. I don't like betting World Series outrights, but 9-1 for a team with the best record in baseball, a third of the way through, seems like a great bet to me.
Yeah, and sometimes when I'm looking at futures like this, I'm not saying that like I'm going to bet with my gut, but if I'm looking at a number and my gut immediately says this feels maybe a little bit wrong, and I'm kind of comparing that to some other sites or some other books, it does just kind of make me think like it's worth investigating a little bit more. And I think 9-1 to me, I think if they played in the NL, 9-1 would probably be fair, or I even might make them like a little bit longer, just because I think the NL, the top tier of the NL, great points you made about the Dodgers. We're forgetting too, by the way, they're still going to get something probably out of Glass now at some point when he comes.
I mean, all of these guys who are hurt, you're going to get them them all back at the same time, and they're only going to have to pitch 40 innings.
The Dodgers won the freaking World Series last year when all of their starting pitching, besides Yamamoto and obviously Flaherty, who they acquired, got hurt right before the end of the season. So this is kind of the and Flaherty was terrible. So this is the opposite of that, where they should get most of their starters back before that. But we can, save
we'll save that. Look at us not talking about Central. Thank you.
We are talking about Central because we are talking about
except not well, that one I went, but Gio chiming in with Detroit 13-8 interleague, which is important. And by the way, they're of all their pitching, they have the 4th highest pitching WAR in baseball.
Yeah, pretty good.
Wow. Here's what I didn't notice that we should back in the center. KC has the highest pitching WAR in the AL.
Yeah, that's surprising. Just because of
I didn't know that.
Boobich has been.
I'm a Boobich fan.
Big
I think he gets kind of drilled today, but we'll see. All right. So, final word on the Tigers. Bet them. World Series.
Yeah,
I parlayed it with OKC 1.5 games last night at 31-1. Oh, and the Liberty to win the WNBA title. Because that team is bonkers good.
Good thing you didn't parlay it with Brianna Stewart over 18.5 points.
Oh, that's not going to happen. So I did, but no, I did. So this is slides. First of all, also our soon to be sponsors of the pod, current friends of the pod, Hall of Fame Bets. One of their founders, at least one of their founders, is from Detroit, so they know he's a Tigers fan. But they, which by the way, guys, use code DADS. It keeps the pod alive. If you guys use Hall of Fame Bets, which we use for every single team market possible. But yeah, I had a no sweat that I did with a bunch of different Ks, guys getting their Ks, which actually only lost by, it was surprising. It only lost by Luis Robert having a game of his life, which
Yeah.
was whatever.
Luis Robert turning into what, 2023? Luis
Yeah,
Robert.
everybody who I have
2 hours.
faded the last 2 days has had monster games, but that's neither
Yeah.
here. They anyway, I got I put $100 on it for no sweat. I got $100 bonus bet out of it. And I always split my bonus bets with Scott. It's like, hey, we're gonna put this on a future, and like you'll get a piece of it, and I'll get a piece of it. We'll do that. I always do that with Scott, and I did it, and we came up with OKC 1.5 game spread. The Liberty to win the title and Detroit to win the World Series, and I thought it was great. Yeah. Anyway, Tigers. We've now spent 15 minutes talking about a central team. This is like very on brand for us. I want to bring in Jovan because it ties really closely to the stuff that we like about this Tigers team.
What's going on?
There
we go.
There he is.
I see you grinning. Is that a Creighton Blue Jays hat?
Toronto Blue Jays.
Toronto Blue Jays. All right, there we go.
Wow. Yeah,
that's like
you're right.
Carlos Delgado.
Yeah.
Like Vernon Wells when they went to that black jersey. Weird.
Yeah. Nice, dude. Jovan, you're one of my closer friends. I've known you since the pandemic started. And
isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I know, right? And one of the big things that you do that's great. Jovan is really great at knowing all the players in what I call weird football leagues. Which is like he knows CFL guys, he knows guys, he's a spring football savant. And in baseball, he's really, really good at, hey, like this guy's making their debut, like this is what they're gonna do. He's kind of got that market kind of cornered. So it's prospect season now. We're seeing a lot of these guys coming up. So Cags coming up, Roman Anthony coming up. I saw somebody personally welcome his sister and his very Italian family to Boston. That, by the way, is the most Italian-looking family I've ever seen. I had no idea he was white because I've clearly never watched his highlights. But my question to you, what is your way that you kind of approach these guys? Because I will also tell you one thing. Jovan was the one who saw Tristan Casas came up 3 years ago, and I had no idea who he was. He's like, dude, this is one of the guys that I do like for a bomb and a single in his game, and he had a bomb in his first game. So tell us how you approach these guys on what we affectionately call the debut report.
Yeah, it's funny because when we were asking me to come on and I really had to think about it because like I don't like write this stuff down. Like I'm just like jumping between tabs. I'm like jumping from like Baseball Reference. I'm jumping from like MLB Pipeline to like gather all this information. So for me, it's kind of like I kind of view batters and pitchers kind of the same way. I think for batters, I first obviously MLB trade rumors, they say like dudes getting called up, like immediately I'm jumping over to like the pipeline to see like what's like that little blurb that they put up, which I think is really effective. Like it's not like super long to read, but it gives you kind of that key information in those grades on their, maybe their hitting or their speed. Like if they're a plus runner, you're automatically thinking, all right, stolen base opportunity. Like
Jackson Churio, first game of the season last year. We got that at 7-1. That was great.
So when you do those things, like it kind of gives you that background information, and also just leaning on like their statistics and like AA and AAA. We know for the most part, AA is kind of like the true proving ground. Like AAA is more like guys that are like 4A guys and guys that might be doing rehab and guys that might just be stuck there and just like AAA just trying to like figure out their life. So when I first started, it was just going home run total base because I'm just like, all right, if they don't get a home run, like they'll find a way to get on base. Maybe you hit a double, maybe they'll get 2 base hits and, end all be all. But then it evolved from like home run, total base, a hit, because I was like, okay, if you're welcome. Sorry about that. I got family friend
it's all good.
Here.
It's all good.
So, Jovan, I got my son right next to me, so don't worry.
So I do hit, and then I totally remixed it now because I feel like everybody's just been like heavily I didn't just seen this in general. Like a lot of people just like heavily jump on like guys that hit a home run in their first major league debut. So I just tailor it now to total base and single because I'm like, all right, you might strike out like 2 times, right? Like Cags did not do nothing his first game like at all. But I obviously ran that back the second day with like total base and HRR because where he was hitting at in the lineup. I think he was like hitting 6. So I was like, gets on base, somebody's behind him, bring him home. So I've kind of like tailored it more towards like the total base and the single market, especially for hitters. I did that earlier this week for Roman Anthony because I was just like, everybody's going to just jump on home runs, but maybe he gets a single. He almost had a single, but he went 0 for 4. So it was the right play. It just didn't happen. So I kind of like go there because you can, depending on some of the minor leaguers that do come up, you could get plus money on their singles prop instead of taking like the minus 150 that might be, or like the minus 130 on the single, on the hit. So I just grabbed the single. And then for pitchers, it's kind of the same way. I kind of look at it again, like look at their stats, read pipeline, and kind of go from, what they're doing in AAA, what was their success in like AA. And I think the perfect example, I wrote this down, was Gunnar Hoglund of the Athletics this season. Like I saw his K prop was at 3.5, and I was just like, okay, there's like no way. Like just looking at what he's done in his last.
Sniped that too, because everyone was like, "Who is this guy?" And that one. I think he had like 7 Ks. His first. He mowed people down. He shoved.
Yeah, and I was like pissed that I didn't like run the alts because I was like, he was racking them up in AAA Vegas, and I was just like, this just seems too good to be true. I'm like, you're playing the Marlins. We know they're like a 4A team because of just the amount of guys that just come and shuffle in. So I was just like, let's take the K prop. They strike out a lot at that time. And it just kind of like worked out. So it's just a lot of just reading and just looking at statistics, on the pipeline. Even MLB, even Baseball Reference has like the minor league stats too.
Yeah,
tab where you can
Fangraphs has that as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I looked at it. One of the things I really liked that because I did this the other day because Yuri came back after not being around for a year, and everyone was like, "Oh, K prop's over against the Pirates," and I looked, and it was to your point. He didn't strike guys out till in his first of all, he had very few innings in all of his starts, but he had 2 really good K ceiling games, and I was looking on Baseball Reference, and it was the only I want to see swinging strikes. Like that's how I know that you're getting strikeouts in AAA, because AAA does ABS, which for those it does the automated balls and strikes, which you basically like that. So it's automated. So if you're swinging though, that is caused by the pitcher. And he only had that in 2 games. And one of them was that first game there. And then the other one was the next one. He didn't hit the number. And I felt like I was on an island going under his Ks, but it worked out. No, I just love, I think that I remember that you and I were talking about the singles last year because I asked Baseball Reference ambassador Jessica Brand if she could look this up for me. And she said that the theory is probably true, but guys will get their hit and admire their first hit. And that's why they don't end up going around to the double, because it's a single, because they admire, because they stop at first base to check it out. And so it's a really good angle, and you're going to always get it at plus money for these guys.
Juan Soto, by the way, still does this. So he could have had a triple last night. He still looks and admires his hits. So some players that doesn't change. Jovan, actually, one thing I wanted, because I'm glad you were talking about pitchers with Yuri there, Berg, because we've got Jake Mizorowski, for example, coming up on Thursday against the Cardinals. I know some of the nerds very excited about him. He's got like some tremendous stuff, it looks like. Is he somebody that's been on your radar? Any other prospects that you're kind of looking at, you're excited to either like see if there's an opportunity to bet on? Because I know he's been somebody that I think a lot of people have been excited to see what he's going to do once he comes up.
Yeah, I think everybody is definitely excited to see Mizorowski. Like you said, his fastball is just incredible, like the speed that he's getting on that. And I think he popped on my radar. I think, was it last year or the year before, when he pitched in the Futures game? And I was like, yo, who is this guy?
Yeah, Trevor likes him a lot. It's like their future closer, but that's my issue with him, is that he's bounced on both. I'll let you say your point, but like my issues with him are positional, but keep going.
Yeah, it's because like he have that like high velocity stuff where you like, he would probably kill it as a reliever, but it's like the Brewers is like they have like arms, but they don't have like that special arm. And he's like that special arm for him. And what he's did in AAA this year, really good. 4.2, 2.13 ERA. It'll be interesting to see what his K prop is coming into his first start. I forgot who they play. I think
St. Louis. They play St. Louis.
Okay, so it's actually a terrible K matchup.
Yeah, exactly, because they do not strike out they do not strike out at all, really, or a lot. So I don't know maybe what the play will be for that one. We'll see what the number comes out for that. In terms
Andrew hit me up on it the other day. And so Jovan also knows Andrew Margolis, who came on. Andrew likes his walks because I had the original concern that he's flipped between reliever and starting pitcher, which he should be. To me, he's got Mason Miller stuff. Like I see people say, "Oh, Mason Miller should go back to starting." Mason Miller should always be a reliever because he's got 2 pitches and one of them's 104 miles an hour. But his walks, because his apparently he misses spots a lot, and if he's going against the Cardinals, I think walks is the way that I'm going to go on it for him. Walks I like to go on a lot of guys' debuts just because they're like
just
the strike zone's different.
Yeah.
It's just like so.
Unless the matchup though, because I think back to like when Mick Abel came up and they just gave him a cupcake matchup against the Pirates at home. They had already won the first 2 games in the series. So sometimes I'd and maybe you think the same way, Jovan, but like I look at that too. I'm like, all right, are they bringing who's the matchup more importantly that they're going to bring this guy up against? And Mick Abel, not somebody necessarily that has like tremendous K stuff, but I mean, the Pirates at that point were swinging at everything. So you can kind of trust that more than, oh man, like, only a 0.1% swing and strike rate in AAA. Look, I think sometimes at the matchup, they're going to end up going. And then, so maybe to your point there too about Mizorowski, like walks might be more of the play versus strikeouts just because the matchup from a strikeout perspective, not going to be as good, but people are going to be excited to bet some of the over strikeouts, at least the people who know him.
By the way, it's funny because every time you guys say, I just realized on his last name, all I can do is think of Monsters Inc. Mike Wazowski and on all these dudes. Well, so speaking of pivoting from Abel a little bit, so Jovan, I see a lot of Otto Kemp, another guy who, again, I had no idea he looked the way he did the other day. Are Phillies doing daycare 2.0 or I mean, are there any guys that we're like really excited about that are coming up that are going to kind of, or a lot of these folks that the Phillies have in their system? Because like everyone knows, Jovan's a Philly guy, LaSalle guy, good dude. So are there any prospects that the Phillies could be either eyeing in the draft that's coming up or just potentially just like bring up there now? We know Andrew Painter and we have things, but is there anybody with the Philly system that you're excited about or might kind of help get them a little bit on the right track?
Yeah, no, I think like you said, I think they're kind of forced to go into daycare 2.0 just because the veterans just aren't producing like right now, or guys hurt, right? You're able was, I think, the surprise because he just didn't have it last year, but then just completely flipped the switch. And now he looks like a guy that you might have thought you wanted to, move at the trade deadline.
He looks good. I mean, even when he doesn't have his best stuff, his control is really good.
Exactly. So I think, obviously, I think the next possible call up candidate, I think that everybody's like kind of pinning, their ears back for is Justin Crawford, just because of the situation in the outfield right now for the Phillies. We know it's not great right now. Like Kepler obviously hit the home run, but he's just so inconsistent in left, and then center field is kind of just this weird, combination of like, all right, we'll start Marsh in this game, or we'll start Rojas this game, but then we'll pull Rojas because of this matchup to bring Marsh in to be a pinch hitter
because they're both lefty. Like, which so makes no sense whatsoever.
and Rojas is the better defender, like by far,
infinitely better defender.
And I'm in the belief where I think you should give Rojas more reps at the plate because he's the better defender, because he can get the balls that Marsh just can't get to. I think in that Pirate series we saw that, and that fly ball where he just could not get to. So I think Crawford, if that guy everybody's waiting to see. I think who was it? Griff McGarry, I think, had a good start, but he's kind of cooled off a little bit. He bounced back. He went from that starter reliever back and forth. I think he's like now in the reliever mode. I would say a Phillies prospect to probably look out for, probably like in the future. This is like super in the future. It's probably Eduardo Tate, the catcher right now. I think he's like 19 years old, but like the kid is like offensively talented. Like everybody thought,
is he with the Thrashers, or is he?
Yep.
Where is he? Okay.
Yeah, he's currently in Clearwater, and he's just like crushing the ball. right now. And I think that's like your catcher of the future. Like he's sitting like right there. Like I think everybody thought like maybe like Rafael Marchand would like be that guy, to kind of obviously step in as like the secondary catcher and then back up and probably eventually take over for Real Mito. But it doesn't look like Marchand just doesn't have it at the plate right now. But I think Eduardo Tate, I'm definitely high on him, and there's a lot of people, even in like if you're into like the baseball card collecting community, there's a lot of people like really like scoping his stuff.
I'm with you, by the way, Jovan, on getting Rojas some more playing time, by the way, at the plate. Because as a Mets fan, when I've seen him come up, he actually scares me. Like he's somebody that I still think has the potential to do something, and also higher WAR than Wilmer Flores. Just want to point that out.
Enemy of the program. We have friends in the program. Enemy of the program. Wilmer Flores is that one thing. So okay, Jovan, this is awesome because we could do a 3-hour episode on just talking about.
Yeah, trust me, I got like list of prospects.
No,
like,
I know, which is why I've like wanted to get you on. I'm like, oh, we're doing a Wednesday show. This totally works. Okay, so 2 things. One, bet over under on Andrew Painter's first appearance August 1st. Over being after August 1st, under being.
Yeah, I'll take the over. I think they're probably going to just let them chill out until that All-Star break, and then after the deadline, see what they happen. But then I think after that, I think it's go time because you don't know what's going to happen with that rotation with Nola, with hopefully Luzardo can bounce back. But
I like Luzardo today. I think Luzardo shoves today. But
I think Painter definitely. I think we see him in August. I think that's the button that if they don't make a move for anything else, like that might be their best deadline move is, bringing him up.
Well, that's the classic GM. We didn't do anything, but our move is we acquired this prospect that we just promoted. So that's what they'll say if they can't get the guy that they want.
Real important question. Who's a more polarizing figure in Philly sports right now? Joel Embiid or Jordan Romano?
I was going to say Trey Turner is in that conversation too.
Whoa! Wait, go why?
I think Trey Turner is polarizing in that I think everybody like expected him to be something that we saw like obviously with the Dodgers and even in his Nationals, and then it didn't help when he went on that run in the WBC.
Oh, he was just awesome. Like, he was Superman. He was Superman. That WBC run.
Yeah, when he was just like clobbering everything, and then it's like, oh great, like we're getting Trey Turner, and then like he struggles his first year. He struggles for that first half of the year, his first year, and they give him standing ovation. And it's like, all right, his bat comes around. All right, his bat has come around, right? He's taking more of a slap hitter approach this year, not trying to launch everything, getting on base, stealing bases. Like that's all good. But now his defense is like completely going sideways. And then the common thing is people will say he's making $300 million. Like this was the worst $300 million investment at the time. And sadly enough, the Phillies in that free agency period was stuck in like a tough like position because it was either Turner, Dansby Swanson, or Carlos Correa.
And it was getting rid of Segura, if I recall.
Right.
So it was just they've always had a weird spot in that half the field. It's just everything's it's never been great since Roland left, to be completely fair.
It's funny enough too, because he's like you said, it's a contract that is obviously making everybody sour because it's the same thing. I mean, Soto's got like a 850 or whatever OPS, which is fine, but he's making $50 million. So obviously all the New Yorkers are like, this guy should be one dot net. But I mean, Turner this season, he still has a 2.5 WAR, 344 BABIP. He's still got 45 runs driven in, 142 ISO. It's not. I guess my point is he's been fine. Like it hasn't been that he's just been this total disaster. Sometimes like when I see Real Muto come up to the plate, I'm like, I think he might be unplayable in some games.
Muto's definitely in that category.
Turner is certainly not in that camp, but I think like you said, it all comes back to the contract. Whereas Romano on a 1 or 2 year deal? Because he's on a 1 year.
He's on a 1 year prove it deal.
So yeah, I feel like Romano is somebody that, it's like, I don't know, if I like hang out with my nephews every once in a while and they piss me off or they do something that like they're not listening. Okay, like I'm gonna get mad at them, but it's temporary. It's not like I'm seeing this every day and it's coming out of my Chase account or something.
Right.
Then the last word I will say is that since the 24th of May, Jordan Romano is averaging is 11 Ks per 9. His walks per 9 is 6.
I was gonna say, what's his how many earned runs per
Ks 9? So anyway, all right, Jovan, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, so I appreciate y'all for having me on again, talking prospects.
Man.
Like I said, we can talk prospects all day. Like there's a lot of guys that are like coming up, and even in CAG's class that have been called up this year. So a lot of interesting names. Follow me on the social medias at Jovan Tennis, pretty much everywhere for the most part on all social media platforms, and then also TotalSportsLive.com and the TSL podcast, which is on all the good old streaming platforms. But yeah, appreciate y'all again for having me on talking ball.
Awesome. Yeah, dude. Thanks for coming by. We're definitely gonna have you again. I think I want to find probably a recap post the MLB draft.
Yeah, definitely. Because we gotta talk Ethan Holiday. We gotta talk Ethan.
Yeah. And like Matt Holiday's magic sperm.
Talk about being a good dad.
Yeah, talk about being a good dad. So all right. Thanks a lot, Jovan.
All right, see y'all.
All right, CJ, we wanted to do, which is what you had a really good idea. You had we draft the greatest sweats, but I think given time, let's both do one to preview this because we can do some other things with it. So right now, what is for you? Well, this is your segment, so you try. Yeah, what am I doing? This is yours.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Keys. I mean, I always love thinking of like the markets that are the most. There's the markets that we bet that we think we're going to get value in, but not necessarily the most fun to bet. Like I like betting team total bases because I think there's some decent value in it. Not really like a fun market while you're watching to necessarily sweat. So I had the idea of thinking of like, well, if I'm just betting to like have a fun market to bet a sweat on, what would those be? So mine, just to kind of keep this short, mine for sure is, the more I thought about it, is pitcher outs. I don't think there is anything like either more frustrating or more relieving when you get to about the 4th or 5th inning and every single pitch, you are like, all right, please throw this outside. Like especially if you're betting the under, you're rooting for hits, you're rooting for walks, you're rooting for literally any sort of chaos in the game. Versus earn runs, like it's more of like sequential. You have to have like, all right, you got to get somebody on, then you got to get somebody to obviously hit them in. There's the outs one. It's literally just every single event you're kind of rooting for some chaos if you have the under, and if you have the over, it's almost similar to kind of like an under sweat for total points or other types of sports, because you are trying to root for it to be as efficient as possible. You're obviously not rooting for any sort of runs. You don't want to see a ton of action. You want as least possible action. So it's like, I think the one market where the under, you're actually betting for the most chaos, and the over, you're betting for the least. So that's mine. What about you?
I've been very cold on these lately, and so I would normally say like the double play, the DP is the most electric sweat that I've had in a very long time. But my new one is first plate appearance K. Which is I've been able to use our site for handigraphs really well, because you can hone in on what I'll do is I'll find a pitcher who, and I think I talked about this on the last show. I'll find a pitcher that has a high K and swinging percentage, but I'll find a lineup that's like, hey, not everybody is last 30 plate appearances blue, which is what I care about for this. But look at this. Luis Roberts on the team. So and I'll use him as an example because up till yesterday, this is a lights out move for him. Or Teoscar Hernandez is another good one. So, by the way, thank you for not letting me bet him as MVP a while ago. That was, or I think I talked myself out of it, but would have been bad. So he, Andrew, by the way, just randomly texted me a picture of Roman Anthony's sister, and I'm just like so distracted right now. So he just, and then he asked me about Schwellenbach case.
No comment.
Anyway, my point is that I like this first plate appearance K because it's like you said, it's this like incredible sweat of like one guy, one moment. I don't even care what he does the rest of the game. I just want him to blow it right now and swing out. So, and the odds are usually bonkers. And you've kind of pointed out one of the things that's really cool to do with it is that if he doesn't get it, double down on it live for the next at
Yeah, just go to the next plate appearance.
Yeah, you're betting on form. So it's pretty wild. But yeah, I like that.
It's kind of a better version of like first basket to me, because like first basket,
version of
first basket, it's like it's over in 10, 10 maybe less seconds. Whereas a plate appearance, like sometimes you'll get that strikeout one, and that plate appearance might go 7 or 10 pitches. So like you still get that adrenaline, but you get it for like a 30 to 90 seconds versus like the first basket one.
Nope, I completely agree. Okay. That I guess let's make some moves to the dad moves section. This would be where we would have a the moves, the dad moves.
We're still working on
we
that.
We don't have that
music.
Yet because we're a low budget pod.
Yep.
Okay, are we gonna do that? I think Spencer is not joining for dad moves because he's at his parents' house. He's I think so. All right, you go first on your dad move of the week.
I think the one this week is if you are making plans with your buddies, or you just have plans, if you can try to always make them for after you put the kids down, it will be very beneficial for you later on when you really need to potentially cash in on some of the ammo that you may have been loading up on. So like, I guess a prime example is like my kids go to bed between 7 and 7:30.
Oh, really? Hold on.
As long as
I'm out. Not to interrupt your dad move. How do you pull that off? Because your daughter's the same age as mine, right?
Elena's 2.5, so she's a little bit younger. So, and we did have to recently extend her bedtime. Yeah. So, and I mean, Roman's only 10 months, so he's going to go down a little bit earlier. So, I mean, I'm saying this now, good point. If you have kids that are a little bit older, you might not be able to get away with it. Although it may not also be as applicable because they might be easier to go down. Whereas like when you have young kids, it's not. But yeah, make plans for like 8 o'clock if your kids are going down at 7:30 or 8:15 or something like that. Your wife will very much appreciate it. And also you don't have to deal with when you go out immediately kind of being like, hey, like, everything okay over there? Kids go down okay? Like, you don't have to feel it's guilt-free anytime you go out when you do that. So that would just be maybe this is just a good husband recommendation. I don't know. It's
probably a lot of these. It's so funny. The dad moves tend to generally be good partner recommendations as well.
Happy wife, happy life, man. I mean, that's just how it works in this business.
No, I know. Okay. My dad move of the week is constantly look in the pantries and the cabinets for anything that is low, that is a snack, and be the one. This is again good husband type of move. Be the one who proactively orders more snacks for your kids like ahead of time. Do this via a Costco membership. I just did that today because my wife does 1,000 things, and I noticed when I took the kids to school this morning that they were low. We just feed them sugar and then we send them to their teachers. That they were low on fruit snacks. And guess what? I just ordered a whole bunch more at Costco. And she said, I'm about to go out to go get more fruit snacks. I'm like, you don't have to do that because I already did it because I checked the cabinets.
Superhero.
Those cabinets. So yeah, like I'm seeing Porter saying 8:15. Who's able to stay up past 9 anymore? I mean, Nora would rock and roll all night, party every day. So
if you live in the city, if it like we're walkable distance to go to a grocery store, by the way, to add on to your point, Adam, with the getting snacks, it's also a good excuse to like go take the kid out for a walk or something to go get those snacks. So it's like, oh, we're low on, I don't know. We go through berries like you wouldn't believe in this.
Yeah. So the Trader Joe's is right. There's a Trader Joe's next to my gym, and I go there to get fruit like every day.
Yeah, same. Like I literally just did that before the pod to go pick up a few extra things, and it's just super easy as a quick way to build up some of those quick wins.
Nice. Cool. All right. So this is a really good episode because I honestly could have talked to Jovan about prospects for like an hour.
Same.
And
I love talking about the prospects.
Yeah. That was fun.
More so than other sports.
Yeah. It's just everything else is like a dart. This feels like genuine. Everything's built around player development in baseball, which is why it's so great. Okay. So for again, Dad's Bet Baseball at Dad's Bet Baseball. You can find us on Podbean. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Apple Music. You can find us on YouTube. like us, leave funny comments, subscribe. Also, please download Hall of Fame Bets and use the code DADS. You get half off the first month, and you get a week free. We use it. It's got every sport, but for baseball, it's been a cheat code when it comes to team markets. We're just kind of crushing those right now, and they are partner and friend of the pod. And you tell them, hey, I heard about it on Dad's Bet Baseball. You get a sweet little surprise out of it, and that helps everybody. So yeah, those are all there's the housekeeping. But for Spencer, our producer, at Spencer_Ray, RAY, and for CJ at Dad's That Bet, I'm Adam Rosenberg at Hey Rosenberg. We will be next week. I'm on the Cape, so which is such a douchey thing to say, but I'm doing it. CJ is solo. There'll be a solo show of CJ, I believe Sunday night, and then I'll be back, and then we're gonna do a Friday show, and because I get back Thursday, we'll do a Friday show, and then we'll be back to 2 a week. And then I'll probably end up doing a show from Vegas because I'll be in Vegas, but that's a separate story. So, all right. Anyway, thanks everybody for coming by. CJ, what is the last word?
Multiple. Have a great Father's Day weekend, everybody. And to all the dads out there, have a wonderful Father's Day weekend. Enjoy it with your fam.
Daddy.